Welcome to one of Italy's most famous locations, home to one of the world's most incredible cities, founded over 1,600 years ago and built almost entirely on top of ancient wooden poles. This is Venice, and we're going to take you with us as we explore this fascinating location over a full week on board the only luxury river ship that sails here all year round, Uniworld's SS La Venezia. We'll also explore Milan, Verona and Lake Como, where we have special exclusive access to some of the world's most treasured works of art. This is simply the most luxurious and complete way to explore Venice without the crowds, and we're going to take you there with us right now. So, benvenuto and andiamo!
Hello. Oh, hello. So we landed about 12:32 and it's what?
12:59.
12:59. Gone through immigration, got our bags, met our man in Italy, and in this beautiful, beautiful Mercedes now on our way to hotel. Less than half an hour. Incredible. Let's go.
Hang on a second. This isn't Venice. This is Milan. More about that later. The moment you step aboard La Venezia, you'll immediately feel you are in Venice. The interiors of each of Uniworld's fleet of luxury river vessels is designed to envelop you in the cultures of the location in which she is sailing. You may have already heard that every single Uniworld river ship is unique from her sisters, individually and sympathetically designed to be at one with her location, the cultural focus of her itineraries being at the forefront of her interior design remit. Certainly, if you've watched our other Uniworld content, I banged on about it enough. It's important in an age of a growing trend for homogeneous fleets of identical ships. Naturally then, La Venezia is rich with Venetian flourishes that already absorb you into the city you are about to explore. Your stateroom, in true Uniworld style, is decorated without the need for any subtlety whatsoever. As we've experienced on previous Uniworld ships, the walls are bold to look at, soft to the touch and feel slightly padded, and are unlike any other river ship we've sailed on. There's certainly no mistaking where you are. La Venezia is your very own Renaissance-style floating home that will ensure that every morning your balcony or window will deliver yet another jaw-dropping vista from the delights of the lagoon. The flavours of Venice don't stop there. Many would say the most important flavours are the ones you put in your mouth. Cuisine on board is a creative mixture of classic Uniworld favourites and locally inspired dishes, coupled with a selection of wines that add local Italian tastes and aromas to your palate. We won't be releasing a full dining guide because, in all honesty, the ship doesn't warrant one, as there are only 2 dedicated venues: the main restaurant, where you'll have the vast majority of your meals, and Ciello's, the alfresco pizzeria on the sun deck. We've introduced you to the ship, but La Venezia is only part of the story. Let's get this beautiful adventure started, well, with a pretty little early morning montage. Our first full day in the lagoon was a cracking start to the week, a day of highlights and exclusive Uniworld only access to Venice's biggest treasures. An early morning short stroll to Doge's palace meant we had almost the whole palace to ourselves as we beat the tourist rush. The Doge's palace, or Palazzo Ducale if you're Venetian, is situated in St. Mark's Square and was originally a fortified castle founded between the 10th and 11th centuries. The palace as it stands today combines layers of different architectural styles, including Byzantine, Gothic and Renaissance. A Doge, Venetian for Duke, was the highest official of the Republic of Venice for more than 1,000 years, from the 8th to the 18th centuries, and symbol of the sovereignty of the Venetian state. For nearly 1,000 years, 120 Doges ruled over Venice from the Doge's palace itself, and it was one of the most valuable palaces in the world. I couldn't verify this on Rightmove or Zoopla, but I guess it hasn't changed hands in quite a while. On our tour, we visited Doge's apartments, the courtyard, the institutional chambers, the armory, and the prisons. The Doge's apartments are beautifully decorated with works of art that depict the city's history. We also meandered through the Maggiore Consiglio Hall, where over 1,000 people would go to vote to decide the future of the Serenissima, the word used to describe the Republic of Venice, and it means most serene. I love stumbling across little nuggets of trivia, and to my delight, this hall contains the world's largest painting on canvas, called Paradise by Tintoretto. It's a fascinating sight, as is most of the incredible works of art here. Our visit finished with a crossing of the famous Bridge of Sighs. This fully enclosed bridge was built in a Baroque style during the 17th century to give access to the prisons of the Palazzo. The melancholic name comes from when those condemned to death would cross the bridge and see the lagoon for the last time. They probably did more than sigh, to be honest, but there's not many more names that give the impression of sadness than Bridge of Sighs, I guess. After we'd left the palace, and as the labyrinth of canals warmed quickly in the heightening Venetian summer sun, we enjoyed a walking tour of the Castello region for a fascinating look behind the tourist face of the city and into the back streets and the everyday lives of the Venetians that live here. Soon we headed back to the ship for a spot of lunch as the captain let go of our lines for an introductory scenic sailing along the Giudecca Canal, one of the widest waterways in the city, including the traditional Uniworld sail-away sabering. This is where the Master of Ceremonies opens a bottle of champagne on the open deck with a ceremonial sword. Uniworld used to slice the top off the bottle and its cork would fly into the river. So now, as you can see, I'm glad to say, they have taken more environmental measures to ensure there's nothing going overboard. Our stateroom for this voyage was on Torcello Deck, room 108. This was a room with what we like to call a swan's eye view, with our windows being almost on the waterline. It gave us this rather unique view of the scenic sailing, which was really rather fun. As we relaxed under the shades of the sun deck, we sipped fully inclusive drinks brought around by the lovely bar staff. There's no better way to introduce yourself to this ancient floating city than viewed from the lagoon itself, a perspective you simply cannot get if you choose to stay in Venice on land. An early dinner, and a cheeky Cosmo, prepared us for another stroll in the cooling temperatures of the evening, this time to St. Mark's Basilica, one of Italy's most impressive and famous treasures. But first, we were given a great little ride in a water shuttle to the square. giving us a brilliant view of the city, drenched in the golden glow of the setting sun. Our evening visit to St Mark's Basilica was one of the highlights of the whole cruise. We had private after-hours access to the whole building, and the Uniworld group were treated to an exclusive switch-on of the ceiling lights, gradually revealing the shimmering sight above you, the incredible and dominant gold mosaic frescoes. Not only does this priceless ceiling take your breath away, the Basilica is also home to the remains of St Mark himself, kept in this stone tomb near the altar. Behind Mark's tomb, there's the Pala d'Oro, that has a total of 1,927 studded precious gems, which took more than 300 years to be completed. We also got to go underground into the crypt where St Mark was previously laid, which was built to keep his body safe after it was smuggled in from Alexandria in Egypt by Venetian merchants in the 9th century. The crypt is also home to the tombs of generations of former bishops of this iconic cathedral. Spooky, but fascinating. What an evening. The gorgeous crew of the SS La Venezia had laid on some late-night goodies for us as we reflected on our first full day. And what a day! Also, bear in mind that every brilliant thing we had done on our first day was completely included in your cruise fare. And that being considered, it's a pretty good deal indeed. But if you think that's all that Venice has to offer and all the adventure Uniworld lays on for you, then Part 2 will definitely change your mind. Click the links to continue your Venetian adventure with us. Thank you for watching.